97.3.
Accra. Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
97.3 Citi FM. This is Eyewitness News, live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. I am Ni Latte here tonight with
Hawa Idrisu Mustafa.
And coming up over the next 1 hour and a half to assent anti-gay bill or not, President Akufo-Addo at the crossroads as Finance Ministry raises fears of a possible loss of $3.8 billion in World Bank funding.
In total, Ghana is likely to lose some $3.8 billion in World Bank financing over the next 5 to 6 years. For the year 2024, Ghana is likely to lose $600 million budget support and $250 million for the Financial Stability Fund.
The assessment of the economic implication of the bill is on the front burner for us tonight. Also coming up on Eyewitness News, after several complaints from political parties about the plan for the 2024 general elections, Electoral Commission to begin processes for the polls from May 7. We get to hear from the parties ahead of an IPAC meeting on Thursday. Also, if you slept in darkness last night, Gridco has some explanation for you.
So for now, we are not entirely sure what caused the sparks and what has led to the fault of the disconnect, but they are looking at that.
Plus, we touch base with the 2024 Heritage Caravan as they begin day 2 of the 1-week magical trip. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on these and other stories on Eyewitness News. But later on the show, we have business for you, and the latest headline is:
Government insists on settling customers of defunct Black Shield Capital Limited if legal processes are halted. That's
in the next 50 minutes with Hawa, who brings us the top stories in the world of business. Remember that Eyewitness News is not only broadcasting in the national capital here in Accra. If you go around the country, we are live on a number of affiliates, including Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady, Sky Power 93.5 FM also in Takrady in the Western region, Green FM 95.9 in Sunyani in the Bono region, Hammers Radio 106.5 FM in Goso in the Hafu region. If you are listening to us in the Ashanti region, this is Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi and Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. In the Volta region, this is Revival 99.3 FM in Tajehu, Radio Bimbala 91.9 FM in the Northern region, Tanga 93.7 FM in Bolga in the Upper East region, Tunson 97.3 FM in Wa and Drapa 96.1 FM both in the Upper West region. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM with me, Ni Latte, and I'm here with Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. So last week, Wednesday, Parliament passed the anti-gay bill, and we are expecting President Akufo-Addo to assent that particular bill into law. And after that bill was passed, a lot of reactions have been coming in from both the political circles, academia, and also some economic watchers. Today, what we are learning is that the Finance Ministry is raising fears about a possible loss of some external funding from the World Bank, and that is what we are picking up for you tonight on Eyewitness News. And this particular fears that the Ministry of Finance is raising is also going to impact on the implementation of the 2024 budget. And so what we are also noticing is that the Honorable Minister of Finance has convened an emergency meeting with his chief director as well as the director of the ministry, governors of the Bank of Ghana, and of course the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, ostensibly to look at the immediate impact of the passage of the bill on the implementation of the 2024 budget. And so if you've missed that, my colleague Samuel Yafe joins us in studio for more on this. Well, Samuel, you have been perusing the document that we've seen from the Ministry of Finance, and the document has several parts and portions. And so we want to first begin, really, what is the impact on World Bank funded programs as far as the anti-gay bill is concerned?
Well, good evening and good evening to listeners. It's a 4-page document titled Passage of the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Value, Family Value, dated March 2024. And it says a brief on implementation impact of the implementation of the 2024 budget. And so when you're talking about the impact, okay, so it breaks this whole report into sections. So we take the first section, which is the impact on the World Bank funded programs, as you mentioned. And number one, it says the expected $300 million financing from the first Ghana Resilient Recovery Development Policy Operation, which into bracket budget support, which is currently pending parliamentary approval, might not be disbursed by the bank when it is approved by Parliament. Number two, it says ongoing negotiations on the second Ghana Resilient Recovery Development Policy Operation, into bracket budget support, amounting to $300 million may also be suspended. Number three, ongoing negotiations for a $250 million World Bank support of the Ghana Financial Stability Fund may also be suspended. Number four, disbursement of undisbursed amount totaling $2.1 billion for ongoing projects will be suspended as well. Another point, preparation for pipeline projects and declaration of ineffectiveness of 2 projects totaling $900 million may be suspended. And it gives details of this particular project in a World Bank document. And finally, it says, in total, Ghana is likely to lose $3.8 billion in World Bank financing over the next 5 to 6 years. For the 2024 budget, or for the 2024 year, Ghana will lose $600 million budget support and $250 million for the Financial Stability Fund. It continues, this will negatively impact on Ghana's foreign exchange reserves and exchange rate stability, as these inflows are expected to shore the country's reserve position.
So 5 different sets of cash flows from the World Bank, and
Yes.
that is what we are anticipating. If you put these 5 cash flows together, that is what brings us to the total of $3.8 billion from the World Bank in terms of
Definitely.
funding. But the statement also mentions the impact on the implementation of the 2024 budget. What more does it say about
It
that?
says the potential loss of these financial resources creates a financial gap in the 2024 budget that must be addressed either through a significant reduction in the expenditures or additional domestic revenue mobilization. Failing this, government's ability to achieve the target in the 2024 budget will be undermined and the IMF ECF program will be derailed.
And how is the IMF ECF program going to be derailed as a result of this bill?
It says while there is no direct conditionality in the it says whilst there is no direct conditionality in the IMF ECF program relating to the passage of the bill, the principles of the current IMF program are built on predictable financing from development partners, into bracket financing assurances, including the World Bank funded Ghana Resilient Recovery Development Policy Operation. Hence, the non-disbursement of the budget support from the World Bank will derail the IMF program. This will in turn trigger a market reaction which will affect the stability of the exchange rates.
And if it does, it trickles down to the debt restructuring program we are having with external creditors.
And it says negotiations with the official creditor committee, the OCC, and Eurobond holders under Ghana's debt restructuring program is predicted on the success of the IMF program. Hence, a derailed IMF program will have dire consequence on the debt restructuring exercise and Ghana's long-term debt sustainability.
And not only will this affect our program with the IMF and also the World Bank funding that we are expecting, The statement also mentions categorically about the impact on other programs such as the African Development Bank. What more do we know about this?
The African Development Bank has indicated that the passage of the bill will not have any adverse impact on the cooperation with Ghana.
But interesting to find out from the statement as well is that there's also going to be an adverse reaction from Germany and the wider European community.
In several discussions with officials from the German government, the Ministry of Finance officials have been informed that the government of Germany is against the passage of the bill, giving Germany's relative strong influence in the European Union and the official creditor committee. There is the need to manage the relationship to forestall a strong negative reaction.
6 subsections of the statement released by the Ministry of Finance, and it takes us to the big one that talks about recommendations, and key amongst them is that the Finance Ministry is calling on President Akufo-Addo to defer his assent to the anti-gay bill. And so these recommendations come in two folds. First at the presidency level and also at the Ministry of Finance level. What does the statement say when it comes to the recommendations at the presidency level?
A structured engagement with local forces such as religious bodies and faith-based organizations to communicate the economic implication of the passage of the anti-LGBTQ bill and build a stronger coalition and a framework for supporting key development initiatives that are likely to be affected. B, an effective engagement with countries, including the Arab countries and China. This could help trigger resources to fill in the potential financial gaps to be created. And finally, His Excellency the President may have to defer assenting to the bill until the court rules on the legal issues tabled by key national stakeholders, into bracket CSOs and SHRAJ.
And so the Ministry of Finance also has a responsibility. Should we expect that the financing assurances that we expect from all these international bodies and also at the local front, if all of these are going to be affected as a result of the anti-gay bill, what more does the Finance Ministry intend to do?
The ministry will continue to engage the IMF on the alternative credible sources of funding that will plug the financial gap. Secondly, GRA to embark on a vigorous revenue mobilization drive focusing on implementation of approved measures as well as compliance. 3, consider possible expenditure rationalization to accommodate the shock from the potential withdrawal of resources and leverage on the Ghana Beyond Aid principle and change the structure of our resource mobilization. We must improve our domestic resource mobilization effort by working towards our medium-term tax revenue to GDP target of 17 to 18% and eventually warn ourselves off of sustainable dependency on development assistance.
And so this is how the statement concludes. It says that the passage of the new bill calls for fortifying local financial systems, strengthening African financial institutions, as well as our development journey in partnership with other countries. In line with the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda, Ghana can navigate the complexities of international relations and emerge with a robust, resilient economy and Ghanaian ownership of the commanding height of the economy. But thank you very much, Samira Afe, for giving us details of the impact on the Ghanaian economy as released by the Ministry of Finance on the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, also known as the Anti-Gay Bill. Right about now, I want to bring in Director of Strategy and Business Operation at Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson. Good evening to you, sir, and thank you for joining us on Eyewitness News. I'm sure you've read the statement by the Ministry of Finance. Really, is Ghana in for trouble given the economic consequences that the ministry has enumerated? And if so, is the fear of the ministry genuine? And if this is a matter of concern, if you want to say that Ghana is trying as much as possible to do away with foreign aid.
Good evening and good evening to all your listeners. Listen, the Ministry of Finance, I believe, has articulated very, very clearly what the challenges are. No one can fault them for what they have said. In fact, I agree with a lot of the things said. Truth of the matter is that I find it unfortunate that at this time in our economic life, we have created such an issue out of these LGBTI rights and made it a matter of national pride. Why do I find it unfortunate? Ghana is broke. We've been broke for a long time. We have not been paying our debts. Listen, we haven't even paid any commercial debt since December 18th of 2022. Not only are we broke, even the IMF bailout was made because of geopolitical considerations, and not particularly because we met the debt sustainability criteria. The IMF itself said we are in danger of not meeting debt sustainability. We haven't even concluded the negotiations with our commercial debtors. Real politics tells you that when you go cap in hand to beg people to give you a bailout, you may have to swallow some of your pride. You may have to swallow some of the issues that you don't like. So the issue is very clear, and it's up to us all Ghanaians, because I believe that this issue had bipartisan support. If we insist on this bill, we must be able to understand the hardships that may come with not getting the aid we want. Because then we were saying that our pride says that we can't walk away from this. If the fear of the economic repercussions are as bad as some of us think and feel, and the Ministry of Finance has articulated clearly, then you may want to rethink this process. My worry is that even the alternatives suggested will take some time to get through. They're talking about engaging other countries for alternative.
Well, Mr. Jackson, we'll be coming to the recommendations pretty shortly, but just as you mentioned that we should be mindful of the economic implication of some of these things, there is also this aspect of the conversation that there is actually no condition precedent that, well, our funding from international partners should be hinged on a law such as the anti-gay bill. So really, the finance ministry is jumping the gun. The fear is just premature. How do you react to some of these sentiments?
Oh, I think that anybody who thinks that way is pretty naive. Already there have been indications clearly from the World Bank that you shouldn't be doing this. There have been indications our partner, the foreign development partners, also have people they report to who may have an agenda which may be different from ours, which we may not like. But if you go cap in hand, it becomes a tough one. I'm just saying that if we say this, then we must be prepared to bear the consequences. And I want to see the same people who champion this beating up and saying, okay, we will accept this. There will be no bailout. The city may crash. Unemployment may rise. Industries will find it harder. But as Ghanaians, we stand by our values. And we won't compromise.
So let's talk about the recommendations that have been put forth by the ministry. I am quite interested in the part that talks about the ministry to continue engaging with the IMF on alternative credible sources of funding that will plug the financing gap. Also interesting to note is that the GRA will have to then ensure rigorous revenue mobilization. In that line, isn't it interesting, because we know that our revenue to GDP, we are struggling to meet the target of 17 to 18%. Does it mean that if all these doors from the international donors are shut at us, it means that government will have to go back to introducing new tax handles. And so it's either we are going in for the international funds or Ghanaians should be prepared for more taxes.
But it's pretty obvious, isn't it? If the people who are going to give you money are going to be dragging their feet because they think that you have an agenda that is at odds with their agenda, then you have to find another way of raising the money. And that way is local. Those of us who believe and stand by our value system must cough up more money for the government to continue to operate. That means more taxes. Bear in mind that some of us do believe that the taxes are already onerous enough and tough enough. And the thought of having more taxes may be very scary. At the same time, when you read at the Ministry of Finance level, it talks about expenditure rationalization to accommodate the shock from potential withdrawal of resources. That means that all of us must be getting ready for expenditure cuts. That will affect MBAs. That might even affect employee salaries. It's not a simple thing that is there. And I believe that we all should look at this Ministry of Finance document carefully and then together decide where we stand so that we will go forth, as they say, if you're forewarned, then you can go forth and meet it with your chest out or stand aside and avoid it. In this case, the question for all of us Ghanaians to ask is that, given that the Ministry of Finance is not just crying wolf, given that this document is a rational document and is a clear exposition of all the challenges that may be ahead, do we stand aside or do we go forth and face this with our chest out?
The implications are dire, you see, but one may also want to ask, that is $3.8 billion quite significant enough to turn our economic fortunes around? Isn't it quite an amount of money that we can just say that we should let it go?
I don't think you know how broke Ghana is. We are broke. We are living on borrowed time. We don't pay our debts. 3.8 billion can make a huge difference to this country. Let no one be confused. But again, I say it again. If we as a nation are prepared to face this, fine. But let nobody pretend that 3.8 billion is some money we can sniff out and tomorrow we can do something and then raise that money locally. We can't.
So do you foresee us going back to the drawing table with variations in the conditionalities that we've agreed on with the World Bank, for example? And even as you answer that, we try to wrap it up. Where do you see us going from here?
As for the drawing table, we have to go back to the drawing table. There are too many issues outstanding. We haven't finished signing the commercial debt agreement. This issue has put a lot of the funding that was predicated in the agreement may not come. And those who are providing the funding have provided clear indications of the consequences of signing this agreement. So we have to go back to the drawing board. As we way forward, it is up to us Ghanaians. It is up to all of us to decide that we find this bill far more important than any economic hardship that may be ahead. And so we stand by the bill.
All right, thank you. That's Joe Jackson, Director of Strategy and Business Operation at Dalex Finance. We stay with this story because there are more reactions from Parliament and Hawa has them.
A proponent of the Promotion of Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, also known as the Anti-Gay Bill, Alhassan Suhini says the Finance Ministry's advice to President Akufo-Addo not to sign the bill into law is scandalous. Here is Alhassan Suhini and Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy, Yusuf Suleimana, reacting to the issue.
It's a tragedy. It's very disappointing that the finance ministry, headed by a minister a while ago who spoke highly about the pride of our country, all of a sudden will be taking this position. The president has spoken severally about the need for us to live beyond aid. And I am disappointed that we do not see this as an opportunity to galvanize the collective strength of our citizens and sympathizers to show that we can indeed live beyond aid, especially when that aid is tied to a way of life that is alien to us as a people.
If there's a very important moral issue such as the LGBTQ that we're talking about, I don't expect him to go this direction. All he's saying is that money is better than our religion, more or less, because our religion, and he's a very learned person, he's highly learned in the Quran. And so I want to justify this from the religious point of view, rather than talking about the economy. In any case, what are we talking about? Do we know the harm that this will cause this society, even in terms of monetary value? And so his concern is that because he has become a minister of finance, he should sacrifice all the ills, all the things that are going to happen if this thing is allowed to go on in this our country.
You heard the members of parliament for Tamale North and Bole Bamboy, Al-Hassan Suhini and Yusuf Sulemana, respectively. Meanwhile, the majority leader in parliament, Alexander Apanyomakian, says the bill is yet to be transmitted to the president for his assent. Apanyomakian says the drafting department of parliament is still in the process of compiling the bill for the final draft to be presented to the sponsors for their perusal and onward authentication by the clerk to parliament for the necessary procedures.
There's some seeming pressure on the presidency regarding the LGBT law parliament passed. Well, the process is that when the bill is passed in parliament, it has to be first compiled by the drafting department of parliament. So you know that the bill went through several amendments. It has to be tidied up. And then thereafter, the clerk would have to authenticate it. And after the authentication, the speaker would have to certify. It's when all these are done that the bill is forwarded to the president for his assent. As we speak, as a leader of the House, I can say on good authority that we've not completed the process. So the public needs to know this so that a certain impression is not created out there that Parliament has transmitted the bill to the presidency and all. Nothing has moved to the presidency. In fact, Mr. Speaker is yet to receive the authenticated bill. The clerk to Parliament himself has not yet seen it. The drafting department is still compiling. I have been chasing it myself, and they say it requires some time because a lot of changes were done. And as a leader of the House, I don't have the draft bill, the compiled draft bill. So I just wanted to put this thing in proper perspective for our guidance.
Majority Leader in Parliament, Alexander Apanyomakian.
This is still Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Stories we are bringing you this evening. President Akufo-Addo under pressure not to assent to anti-gay bill because of a possible loss of some $3.8 billion in World Bank funding. We've been speaking to Director of Strategy and Business Operations at Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, as well as reactions from some members of Parliament on this particular subject matter. But stay with us because when we come back, we are delving into the plans by the Electoral Commission as it's set May 7 for the commencement of electoral processes for the 2024 general elections.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Papa! Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Quartz and you can feel better energy.
Can't touch this.
Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that. Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched.
Sancho Panza.
Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation Movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman Mane. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shane Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Welcome back to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are transmitting live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. We are also live across the country on a number of affiliates all around the world on citynewsroom.com. My name is Ni Lati here with Hawa Idrisu Mustafa, who continues the bulletin for us.
The Member of Parliament for South Dai, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamepo, has raised concerns over the absence of a date allotted for vote transfers in the Electoral Commission's 2024 calendar, stating that several voters may be disenfranchised if this is not addressed. Per its timetable, the Electoral Commission will receive nominations for presidential and parliamentary elections from 9th to 13th September, while voters' registration has been scheduled from 7th to 27th this year. Per the schedule, the EC intends to submit the provisional voters' register to the political parties between July 9th and July 18 and mount an exhibition of the voters' register between 15th and 24th July. Speaking to Citi News, the MP for South Dai says the EC must revisit its calendar to include a date for vote transfers.
So let's go to the camp of the National Democratic Congress. Deputy Director of Elections is Rashid Tanko Computer. He joins us this evening on Eyewitness News. Mr. Computer, thank you for joining us on Eyewitness News. First, has the EC communicated officially to you in terms of the itinerary for the 2024 elections, and if so, how are you preparing for the IPAC meeting come Thursday?
Let me say good evening to your cherished listeners. The answer to your question is no. What they did is they wrote to us, inviting us for IPAC meeting come March 7th, that is Thursday. And in the agenda is program of activity for 2024. So they have not given us the program of, that is the program of activities for the year. They haven't given us. The calendar, they haven't given us. They only told us that we'll be discussing issues of that nature. Only for us to see in daily graphic, publish the kind of activities that they are going to engage themselves in for this year general election. And it took us by surprise. Because that is not the way to go. That is not the procedure. That is not the process.
So what might account for this particular challenge you are facing, that the EC has not officially communicated to you yet? We are seeing the proposals for electoral activities going around on various media platforms.
You see, the evasive nature of this current electoral commission is not engendering the kind of cordial relationship that they need with the political party. It's not good. Because when we went to the first IPAC meeting on 22nd February, they indicated that they were less popular.
Mr. Computer.
We came back, yes.
Please position yourself for us a bit because we are struggling to hear you.
Well, can you hear me now?
It's quite better now. Thank you.
Yes, I'm saying that. So when we went for the first IPAC meeting, they indicated they were going to give us the calendar. We came for the second IPAC on 29 February. They didn't give us the calendar and indicated that we should go. They will send the calendar back to us so that we'll study it. They never did that. We had to put pressure. In fact, my boss, Dr. Omane Boama, wrote several letters. In fact, the last one was an open letter indicating the possible difficulties we are going to face as a country if the Electoral Commission not come out with their calendar for this year's election. Only for them to now respond by writing to us that, okay, we agree, we're now going to have an IPAC meeting on March 7th, Thursday. Then, on the heels of it, they secretly publish the calendar in their graphic. It's not the best way to go. And even the calendar they publish, scrutinize it very well. You'll see that there is no a date for transfer of vote, which is very, very important, very critical.
Exactly the next question I was coming to put before you. If you say the EC has not officially released the calendar to you as political parties, and what you are relying on is what you have seen on social media, why then are you having issues about, the date for transfer, for example? Are you not saying that maybe you want to meet the EC for them to put this across?
Why we are worried is that it came from the state-owned newspaper, Daily Graphic. Their reporter made it very clear from a source from the Daily Edition and gave these timelines. So we are saying, well, we've looked at it. We believe that this might be an abridged one because that cannot be a calendar for the year because a lot of items are omitted in that calendar are published.
So are you willing to honor the EC's invitation on Thursday, maybe for you to get the full complement of the electoral calendar?
To attend the IPAC meeting on the 7th, which is Thursday, because there are a lot of issues there, especially when it comes to the registration exercise. We will have to look at it critically. The kind of registration they did in 2023, we will not accept it this year. We will not accept a situation where they will go and put their machines at the district offices of the Electoral Commission and force Ghanaians to register. That is not what the CIC is. The registration centers accessible to the registrant. So if accessibility, somebody should travel 100 kilometers to come and register. Is that accessibility? We will pick up that issue meeting. We must make meaning to the CI from the Electoral Commission. So you can't that by break and then you go and do something different. These are the problems we have.
Hello, Mr. Tanko Computer. Are you still on the line with us?
You don't want to agree with it.
We lost you briefly. If you can just go back and make your point once more.
I'm saying that we are going to let the Electoral Commission be aware that the kind of registration they did in 2023, we will not accept it this year, where they will have to force Ghanaians to go and register in their district offices. We are not going to accept it because that is not what the CI.
That's a fair point to make. But going into the meeting on Thursday, aside from these issues
on citing where registration centers should be, they say it should be accessible to the registrant. And I'm telling you, if somebody should travel 100 kilometers to go and register, is it accessibility? That is our point.
But I'm asking, so what proposal thereof are you going to put forward to the Electoral Commission when you go on Thursday?
Our proposal is very clear. They should make sure that the registration centers are put at the electoral areas. That is what the framers of the CIA, of which they are the framers, made it very clear that accessibility should be accessible. Electoral areas are to the registrant because they live there. That's where they are. It's every limited registration exercise. We do it at the electoral areas. Mass registration that we do at polling stations. And then this one, you want to put it at the... Don't forget, almost 2 million Ghanaians are waiting to be captured into the register. And so if you do it at your district offices, you are going to disenfranchise a lot of Ghanaians. And that is what we are talking about. And so when we go to IPAC on Thursday, this is one of the issues we are going to let them know. And we'll make sure that if the calendar doesn't... and all this impact of the elections, will call their attention to that.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Rashid Tanko Computer, Deputy Director of Elections of the Opposition National Democratic Congress. Well, one, he says that the party has not been officially informed about the electoral calendar for the 2024 elections. However, they are ready to meet the electoral management body on Thursday for that IPAC Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting, where they will be raising issues about the date allotted for voter transfer as well as the registration process. They are warning that they will not countenance on any proposal for the registration to happen at the district offices of the Electoral Commission other than the electoral areas. And that is what they are saying. But this is still Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Tonight, I am here with Hawa Idris Mustafa. My name is Ni Lati Lati. The stories we are bringing you tonight: President Akufo-Addo under pressure not to assent the anti-gay bill. Why? Because the Ministry of Finance fears that this could lead to some $3.8 billion loss in external funding, particularly from the World Bank, as well as some other programs with the International Monetary Fund, and of course the implementation of the 2024 budget. And just as you heard, the NDC is raising concerns about some electoral calendar procedures that the Electoral Commission has put forward for the 2024 elections. But if you do stay with us, we'll be hearing from the Ghana Grid Company, that's Gridco, for what they blame on last night's power cuts in parts of the country. Plus, we touch base with the 2024 Heritage Caravan. This is still Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you. Can't feel better energy.
Can't touch this.
Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that.
Yes, so
somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched.
Sancho Panzapa.
Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with 8 age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman Omani. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
KB, aka Kubeboga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Oh, wow. KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people. Charlie, we all need to trust the process, because hope day.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program, because every step pays. Ejuma Wokrom, Ghana Grows, Hope Day, an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Yeah, welcome back. Let's bring you some of the messages you've been sending to our WhatsApp line. Courage from Koforidie, right? What Mr. Jackson is simply saying is that we can't be beggars with certain choices, and that's true. It's an irony that we are going to celebrate our Independence Day for the 67th time in a few days. If we played our cards, we wouldn't be here shivering because someone is threatening to cut a loan that we are going to pay back with interest. It's a shame. Alex Dwayne in London writes, Ghanaians don't want LGBTQ. Let's all wait and see whether the president will sign to the bill. Al-Hassan Hamdan from Newry South writes, we will resist any attempt by any group or individual to impose LGBT on the nation. I pledge myself in all things to uphold and defend the good name of Ghana. So help me God, you write.
All right, that's how I breeze with some messages from our WhatsApp console. But we stay with the EC and its preparations for the 2024 elections, and we go to the other side of the political divide and bring in the New Patriotic Party. Its Director of Research and Election is Evans Nimako. He's joining us on telephone. Mr. Nimako, we are grateful that you joined us on Eyewitness News tonight. I was asking the NDC if they've received official communication as far as the electoral calendar of the from the East is concerned. The party says no. The MPP, for you, have you also received any communication, or it is the same case?
Thank you very much and for having me, and good evening to your listeners. Let me start by saying that the New Patriotic Party has not received any official communication from the Electoral Commission with respect to the program of activities for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. All that we've gotten is notice of invitation for an IPAC meeting to be held on Thursday, 7th of this month at the EC headquarters. So I also confirm that we have not received any said communication from the Electoral Commission.
I see. And so this notice of invitation that you have received from the Electoral Commission about the IPAC meeting on Thursday, I want to believe you are aware of the agenda for that particular meeting, if you are able to share with us.
Oh, it's an invitation to IPAC meeting. The last IPAC meeting we held was on 29th of January. Part of the discussion we have had was for the EC to give parties the calendar for the year. We had also discussed the possible change of the voting date. That was the initial discussion with respect to possible elections to be conducted in a day in November, which the party supported, but the NDC said no. And that was also to take care of the petition from the Seventh-day Adventists, so that the day for election will not affect their worshiping day. And so that was the discussion we held on 29th. That aside, we've been waiting to hear from the EC concerning the program of activities for the year. Only to be getting calls that the EC or there's a publication in graphic with regards to the timeline.
It's good you've mentioned the publication from Graphic. I'm sure you've seen it. And the NDC, when we spoke to them, raised issue about the absence of a date, for example, for the transfer of votes. I'm sure you've perused the calendar that is making rounds on Graphic, as you say. What issues?
The New Patriotic Party will not speak to an issue which we have not been properly informed. You cannot put something on nothing. How do you know whether the EC program will really take care of all those that have been published? It's a publication by a media house that we cannot contest. But all that we are saying is that the EC had told parties at the last IPAC meeting that they were going to give us the program lineup. And so that is what we've been expecting. And as you asked, the program for Thursday meeting, according to the EC's invitation, is the election 2024 program and any other business. And so we will wait and have the Thursday discussion with EC and other political parties. And then we can roll the discussion on the way forward.
So going into this IPAC meeting on Thursday, really, what is your expectation and what kind of proposals will the NPP be putting forward to the Electoral Commission?
Well, for now, it is certain that the election date is going to be 7th of December 2024 because the NDC insisted that they will not agree to any such change, and that if the EC ever put a proposal in the form of CI to Parliament, they will not support it. And you've seen the behavior of NDC in this line when other CIs have been presented to Parliament. And so it is the program of the EC. We know that the status quo remains. And so, yes, we will have elections conducted on 7 January. And so that's about it. That aside, the details of other activities to be conducted by the EC, we wouldn't know until we've been given the full brief by the EC.
All right. I'm grateful to you, Evans Nimako, Director of Research and Election at the NPP. I'm sure on Thursday, when you conclude all the discussion at the IPAC meeting, we are definitely coming back to you for more details on that. But away from elections and the EC, what is happening here on 97.3 Citi FM and Citi TV is the Heritage Month. And as you may be well aware, the Heritage Caravan began last night and it's been day 2 already. They are wrapping up activities for the second day. I want to go live to the Eastern region, join the Caravan Night as well as some of my colleagues. In fact, Umar Rusanda Amadou, the host of this show, is with the team, and then he joins us on phone for updates on day 2 of the Heritage Caravan. Good evening, Omar Rusanda Amadou. Thank you for joining us on Eyewitness News. In the afternoon where we spoke with Kennedy, he said you had just arrived at the residency of the Eastern Regional Minister. As we speak, where are you and what can you tell us?
Thank you so much, Ni, and good evening to our listeners. Indeed, like Kennedy said to you, we had a great lunch at the residency, which is the Regional Minister's Secretariat official residence in the Eastern Regional Capital, Koforidua, where the Honorable Seth Kwame Champong treated us to some sumptuous lunch, locally made food from the Eastern region. Every food that you know, which originates from the Eastern region and some other parts of the country, were represented. I took like 3 different meals today. I took papansa, I took 2 zafi, of course. I will not let that one go. And then I took some fufu and the meat that accompanies it, the bush meat that accompanies it. It was a beautiful one, alongside other local drinks that were served. As patrons were overly excited. It was a relaxing mood because you do know Koforidua is called the city of flowers, and the residency has this beautiful garden or lawn where we had a lunch, and all 170 odd number of caravanites had a wonderful lunchtime there. And we were also treated to beautiful sounds from the Legon Palm Wine Band. They were offering us live band music, to entertain us while we eat, and then from there, the buses had to move out, and then we drove through out of the Eastern Regional Capital, Koforidua, and I must say now that we are in the Etiwa East constituency. We are in Kou. We've gone past Etiwa, forgive me, we are in Kou now, in Price, so it is, where we are. We just arrived at the Rock City Hotel, the ever grand Rock City Hotel, where our caravanners are now just disembarking from their buses, and then we are going to move into the hotels, check in, prepare for dinner, and then the big night of all, a party on a Monday night. Because you're at work, you may not think of partying on a Monday night, but because we have taken off time time off work, and we are just, touring Ghana. There's a very, very beautiful clubbing that is happening tonight.
I see.
DJ Mingo has arrived, and he is going to be on the, I call it 10 tables, but he said I should not call it that I feel I'm too old to be saying those things. So that's the biggest highlight tonight as we look forward to that.
I
and
see.
Then tomorrow morning, we set out for the Sunyani area of Ghana.
A party on Monday night, you decide to put it that way, but after having that meal all by yourself with the caravan night, moving from the Eastern Regional Capital to Itiwa East, as you say, to the Plush and Rock City Hotel, after the party tonight, you'll be preparing to move all the way from the Eastern region to the Bono region, that's Sunyani, the regional capital. And so tomorrow, when you arrive in Sunyani, how is it going to look like?
Well, Sunyani is actually where we are going to sleep. But before we get there, we are going to make a number of whistle stops and some stopovers. We'll be at the Mensha Palace Museum, where we are going to learn a lot of cultural history and the important items and artifacts that are there before we head for Sunyani. And there are going to be a number of rest stops on the way. We also have Kintampo Waterfalls up ahead in the agenda. We have the Paga Crocodile Pond up ahead in the agenda. We will go to the Dakwema Palace in the northern region in Tamale. It's also part of the agenda. We're going to descend southwest towards the Maha Beach. So it's a beautiful itinerary. And I must say to you that Nilati, aside the destinations we go to, the activities on the buses themselves is a whole lot of mood. I today picked up the microphone and tried to rap to some of the old tunes, and I realized that
I should have witnessed that.
I still have my rap skills intact, and I think when I start journalism, I may just go back and go and ask for Bravo to train me so that I can become a good rapper. But people are doing all manner of things. There are dancing competitions, singing competitions, karaoke, history lessons, everything that you can call fun is happening on those buses. And because we are a caravan, it's a chain of vehicles led by the police vehicle, which is giving us security. And so there's a whole police detachment in a pickup truck that is leading us and also moving us around the country as we do this to Ning.
Thank you very much. 2 days almost gone, 6 more days ahead on the Heritage Caravan. And if you are missing out, you can visit our social media platforms. We have all the videos there for you. It's the Heritage Caravan 2024, and you heard me speak to my colleague Umaru Sanda Amadou.
The Ghana Grid Company Limited, GridCo, has attributed the power cut that affected some areas in the western part of Accra, Winneba and Takoradi on Sunday to faulty equipment at its Malam substation. The corporate communications manager of GridCo, Jifak Beho Bampo, indicated that its engineers have already restored power to most affected areas and are on course to restore supply to the remaining areas by close of day.
I understand that there were some sparks also, and that one of the reasons they had to isolate that equipment, which is part of the substation. So for now, we are not entirely sure.
That was the corporate communications manager of GridCo, Jifak Beho Bampo.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM, live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Ni Late here with Hawa Idrisu, who returns with the top stories in the world of business.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Details of our stories now. The Minister-Designate of State at the Finance Ministry, Abna Osei Asari, has revealed that the 2024 budget includes allocation to settle the funds held by customers of the now-defunct Black Shield Capital Limited. Addressing the ad hoc committee tasked with probing a petition filed by disgruntled customers, Madam Osei-Asare emphasized that legal challenges hindering the Finance Ministry from releasing the funds stem from the court proceedings regarding Black Shield Company's liquidation.
Mr. Chairman, the truth is this. We weren't sure of the court issue and the way it was going to end. And in 2022, nothing happened. In 2023, the issue is still in the courts. And we are hoping that in 2024, some finality will be brought, and that is why government made some allocation in the budget to pay depositors. And to begin the whole process, that's the bailout process, we need to look at the litigation issue, and that will help us kickstart the payment. And clearly, we all know that this amount in the budget is not adequate enough to take care of the outstanding validated amounts. But what government does is, now that, assuming we end the litigation this year, and SEC is also able to validate the amounts, assuming it's 10 billion, government can make some arrangements in the budget.
That was the Minister-designate of State at the Finance Ministry, Abna Osei-Asare. Industry players are calling on the government to take immediate steps to address the continuous power crisis in the country to avert the situation impacting negatively on their businesses. This comes as the independent power producers have cautioned that the country's power sector challenges are on the brink of exacerbation. This escalation is attributed to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission's recent decision to further reduce electricity tariffs. Samuel Atuagre is the General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, and he has been speaking to Citi Business News.
If we have to go through the branch of government not being able to pay its debt to the ECG, and therefore ECG will then have to also revisit their pain on the industrial sector, that would be a big blow. Because already, as we've said some time back, if you look at the way electricity generation is in this country, industry is supposed to have the minimal energy consumption, the higher at a lower cost in terms of consumption, so that they will be able to have a seamless flow of operation. Unfortunately, some areas depend on where you are located, and the rampant shortages over time. And if this happens, it means that you have to deploy your genset, and that comes with an additional cost, even at higher cost. We expect the government to, as it were, to be able to allow ECG to give industry the power that they need to run a seamless flow of operation.
Samuel Atuagre is the General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana. The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has reiterated calls for the government to intensify measures to ensure the country's food security. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization, in 2022, 12.9 million people in Ghana were affected by moderate or severe food insecurity. The association is concerned about these figures and the potential impact on Ghana's food supply as neighboring countries Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali have parted from ECOWAS, which could disrupt the supply chain. Here is the president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Wepia Awal Adugwala.
Ghana imports fresh tomatoes from Burkina Faso at a cost of about $120 million annually to supplement demand in the country. Onion and livestock are mainly imported from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And if Ghana really wants to achieve food security, then this trend should be a source of worry all of us here. It is even more disturbing with the exit of Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali from the sub-regional body, ECOWAS, where Ghana mostly imports some vegetables and livestock from. I would like to urge the government to immediately take steps to support our farmers to increase vegetables and livestock production to avert any looming shortages and high prices of this agricultural produce. We are yet to recover from the high food inflation that hit this country, partly due to COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war that disrupted supply lines of imported agricultural inputs and food supplies. We should not wait for the diplomatic issues in ECOWAS and 3 of its members to compound our situation.
That was the president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Wepie Awal Aduguala. The Abasokai Spare Parts Dealers Association has welcomed independent presidential aspirant Alan Martin's pledge to introduce fixed import duties rate. During a visit to the spare parts dealers last week, Mr. Martin expressed commitment to implement the initiative within the first 6 months of his administration if elected in the upcoming December polls. Speaking to Citi Business News, the head of communications of the association, Techi Ado, believes the move will serve as a game changer in the sector.
You are going to see more spare parts in this country because now, currently, as you are speaking, because of the duty is high, a lot of importers are stopped. So only the few importers now dealing with spare parts. If you do that, it means the spare parts, some of the items going to be scarce. It's going to be scarce because only few importers are bringing it. Now, when it is free, sale to spare parts, the prices will come down. As an importer, as a trader, as a businessman, you are going to save a lot of money too because now you are not going to be there about dollars because go and bring every Tuesday, dollar rate will be reviewed at the port, and we are going to rely on that to give you a duty. All those who want to will stop. We are going to save a lot of money too.
Techi Ado is the head of communications with the Abasokai Spare Parts Dealers Association. Now, former Finance Minister Seth Tekwe has called for the abolition of the electronic transaction levy, stating that it has not met its intended objectives. Alternatively, he proposes the adoption of a digitized tax system by the Ghana Revenue Authority. The former finance minister said this move will better enhance efficiency and contribute to increased domestic revenue collection.
My opposition to the e-levy and other is that, one, they are distorting the VAT regime. Two, because unlike VAT, you are not being given credits or input as credit. And that is the whole thing about VAT, to make the tax a true tax on the consumer and not on businesses who are collecting the tax and government is not paying them any fee anyway. Okay, so let's get it right. Now, having said that, we used to bring in temporary levies, particularly fiscal stabilization levy or national stabilization levy, doesn't matter how. Temporary import duty, anytime we went into an IMF program and the economy has a problem. That's when we introduced levies. Then we tie it to the IMF program, and after 3 years of the fund program, because we have done well and we are exiting, the tax must also exit.
Seth Tekwe is a former finance minister, and that's it for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. The business news on Eyewitness News is brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Up next is Point Blank.
Hello, Linda. You won't believe what I am planning next. I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, oh. That be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, cry. With a GCB Big Move personal loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like, seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours. Call 0800-422-422 or visit your nearest GCB branch today to fund your next big move as we celebrate 70 years of greatness. T's and C's apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
I'm afraid.
Yeah.
media some bisanda mo. Eti emro tie no. Mumu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodom pe mo na yakono.
Eye kwabna.
Na mumu hwan so na tumi just mali me ma yɛ nyina de.
Eye kojo.
Enu kro. Kobret tumi hwe na bodom pe mo sense wo yi super accident eba. Aye den aban ne do braye. Po si echi na mo ho ban na se mo na ho de ne. Sa ani na kudwo nso yi super accident chako. Na eno ne de e ma wo se wo ye krejen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwo ma ma na feel you.
Kojo. Sa.
Yeah. Pepsodent Eba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. Afedie.
Ya kono natural.
FDIJ etwadi nkatro yatu.
Boss.
Aye ni nyina. Ah, you
KB yo. KB, aka Kubeboga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Oh, wow. KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people.
Charlie,
we all need to trust the process, because hope days.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program because every step pays. Ejuma Wokrom, Ghana Grows, Hope Day, an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Time now for Point Blank. In September 2017, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo began the implementation of one of his ambitious policies. In second cycle institutions were to acquire education without paying a dime. If you do not know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the government free senior high school policy. But years down the line, calls for a review of the policy have intensified. And that is our discussion tonight on Point Blank. My guest tonight is the Deputy Coordinator for the Free Senior High School Secretariat. She is Nana Afra-Sika Mensah. And she joins us on Point Blank tonight on Eyewitness News. Good evening to you, madam, and thank you for joining us on Point Blank on Eyewitness News.
Good evening, and good evening to your cherished listeners.
I don't know if you want to draw closer to the mic so that listeners can hear you loud and clear.
All right, sure.
It's a pleasure having you on Eyewitness News tonight because it's been 7 years since the implementation of the free senior high school policy, and your secretariat has been at the fore of the implementation of this policy. Maybe 7 years down the line, what is your own candid assessment of the free senior high school policy?
All right, thank you so much. And I think free senior high school has really helped us as a country. And then maybe had it not been the free senior high school, people like me or people like my siblings out there wouldn't get access to quality education. So even though we have challenges, but we should rather make the positives outweigh the challenges we are facing as a secretariat.
Yeah. There are positives, there are negatives, yes, but you want the positive to outweigh the negative.
Exactly.
quick exercise. Share with us some of the positive elements of the free senior high school policy.
We've given people access to education, people from the less endowed communities or people who are less privileged in the communities. Had it not been free senior high school, maybe they wouldn't get opportunity to pay school foot bills for their wards. Others to have about 5, 6 kids. Had it not been free senior high school, maybe parents cannot afford for these students to go to school. And aside giving access to students to go to school, we've also made sure that the students who are in school, we've provided them with the necessary items that they need in the schools.
I see, but in as much as you enumerate some of these successes as you want to put them, whenever the issue of free senior high school comes up, one of the key considerations is that, well, it's a good policy. However, its implementation is questionable. In fact, one of the conversations is that why won't government decide to target persons who are supposed to benefit from this free senior high school rather than quote unquote run a wholesale policy?
So how will you know this person qualified to?
Because some parents have actually said that they are willing to foot the bills of their wards. Wouldn't you allow such children, such parents to go ahead with that?
How are we going to assess these parents? We are all taxpayers, and then we need to enjoy the national cake. So what category are we going to categorize that these people are rich in the community, so these people should pay, and we shouldn't allow these people to pay?
Exactly why they say that the kind of, free senior high school you are providing their wards, it's not something that they are happy with.
So what concerns have they raised?
The concerns they have raised, for example, one, is about the quality of education. Remember when free senior high school started, we had to contend with the double track system. There were issues of accommodation challenges, infrastructure, textbooks issues, and even now I speak, one of the critical elements of the free senior high school is about the shortage of food items. All of these things, if you put them together, you think these parents do not have concerns to share?
They've not submitted it to us.
Really?
Yes. Because where we sit as a secretariat, we know that even though there may be shortages of food in some of the schools, that is why we are glad that Joy FM, their expose has really helped us to know that maybe we have challenges in some of the schools. But at least if they could help us to identify some of the schools that they know that these are the challenges students are facing over them. Because when they released the teaser, myself and some of the team tour around some of the schools.
Before you proceed, did you have to take an expose from the media for you to have an assessment of the free senior high school policy?
No. We've been doing monitoring and evaluation. Every quarter, we deploy staff to visit some of the schools so that we will know some of the challenges that the schools are facing.
And
we address them accordingly.
And doing these quarterly monitoring, none of the issues I listed came up?
Issues like?
The issues I earlier mentioned. Infrastructure challenges.
The double track came into ease because we had a lot of students that wrote BEC last year. The enrollment shot up. And then since the enrollment shot up, we needed to make sure that since we are giving equal access for everybody to go to school. So should we say that Kwaku Menu or somebody's son or daughter should go to school and then we deny others opportunity to also go to school? We have to provide equal access to everybody to go to school. That is why the double track came. So we brought in the double track just to increase some of the some infrastructures in some of the senior high schools. And as we are speaking now, we've built a lot of infrastructures in almost all the secondary schools across the country. And then we have newly built senior STEM schools that we are bringing on board. So we are rather easing the enrollment challenges that we have in the schools.
Well, maybe I am putting the negative aspect to you. Maybe. So in your own assessment, as you enumerated the positive sides of the free senior high school, what would you say are the downsides?
The downside, as I indicated earlier, even though we have challenges, but we should rather make sure that the positives...
I want you to speak specifically on the challenges. I don't want to put the words in your mouth.
a typical example is what you told me about the food shortages that we have in the schools. So we went around and we realized that, we're supposed to provide the schools with 18 items, the second cycle schools. And then in the 18 items, we deal with companies. So it's BAFA and then GCS. They are supposed to provide the food items to the schools. And then they will submit their bills for us to start with the processes of payment and everything. So maybe sometimes delays of payments may happen, and due to that, maybe suppliers will not supply the items needed in the school. So once these things come to our notice or our attention, the Honorable Minister, the hard-working workaholic minister, will make sure that we fast track with their payments, and then students will get fed.
Interesting. So, were you satisfied with the quality of food that you witnessed when you visited the schools?
Yes, I even ate some. It was so nice.
It was so nice.
Yes.
But some of the children who are fed with these food items say they are not content, they are not happy with the kind of food items that they are being served. For example, they say that in instances where they have to take porridge, there are days it comes without bread. There are days they are not served with protein when they are eating, for example, wache. And I watched our CNR reports. Some of the students alluded to some of these issues. It came to your attention, didn't it?
There's a menu that we go by every day. So maybe I can't speak for them, because maybe on that day when they were taking the porridge, they were not supposed to take the porridge with bread.
Why?
It's on the menu.
Why shouldn't they take porridge with bread? Is it that you are struggling to feed the children?
No, we are not struggling.
So really, let any listener or parent comprehend why you would want to feed their ward in senior high schools with porridge without bread, or even with rice without any form of protein on it.
I think I should have come with the menu, and then, because I know porridge normally goes with bread. I don't know. I should have come with the menu, and then I can say that maybe it wasn't porridge, or maybe the bread shouldn't have.
So is there a justification that some parents would entrust the welfare of their wards into your care with the mindset that you are going to feed them, but they end up in these second cycle schools, and then the kind of portions they are being served with, quote unquote, not balanced, inadequate? Really a problem.
Do you have picture to that? That's the school, the feeding.
I'm referring you to the tour that you went.
The tour that I went, all the food that were served were balanced meal.
On that day, but the children made exception.
No,
you visited Laboni Senior High School. You visited the Presbyterian Boys Senior High School, both in Accra.
Yes.
And in these two schools, some of the students made mention of the fact that the kind of foods they are being served with really problematic. I went to senior high school at the time. There was no.
You were paying.
No free senior high school. I was paying, and at that point, never did we have porridge without bread. Never did we have rice without any form of protein. So, if free senior high school is being implemented and the menu has been changed in such a way that students can have porridge without bread or have rice without any form of protein, quite difficult to comprehend.
No, when we went to Laboni, they were taking porridge with bread. So I don't know what you are speaking to, because
you said a while ago that on the menu it could be that that day the menu for that day is porridge without bread.
No, that was what that is why I said I don't know the menu, because what I know is porridge normally goes with bread.
Okay, so Nana, let me ask you, if you have a ward and you are serving your child in the house, will you look into the face of your child and give him or her porridge without bread or rice without any form of protein?
But rice, there was, is it not beans? Is it not protein?
Wache beans is plant protein. What about animal protein? For example, if they are being served rice and what we call gas, there is no beans in there, but there is no fish or egg to that effect.
No, the 18 items that we provide to the schools, we give them monies for perishables. And that perishables is the school who is supposed to procure those items and then feed the students with. So looking at the 18 items, we give them mackerel. So the gas, they add mackerel to it, and sardines and the rest. So I'm sure that, and then I think they take egg too as well.
But not every day.
No, but can you take egg every day?
But if I'm having a food that must go with protein, certainly, if it's not fish, it should be egg or
That is
something
why
else.
I told you we provide them with mackerel. So mackerel is also in the stew. And also, the perishables money are meant for them
Maybe in your next monitoring, you should spend a full week in the schools.
No,
and
it's
then
not,
see
we didn't do the monitoring only in Greater Accra. We deploy officers all over the country,
But
and
you-
they were
you go
monitoring the full situation.
You go one day and then you
No,
go,
we don't go one day. Sometimes during our monitoring, we use like a whole week to do the embark
In the
on
same
this
school?
exercise. Not in the same school, different schools.
Maybe you should try the same school 1 week and
Okay.
have a real
Thank you
understanding
so
of what
much.
the issues
All right,
are.
we will do that.
But away from that, Free Senior High School, everybody has been calling for its review. Even as we speak, the opposition National Democratic Congress has said that it is coming to review Free Senior High School. NPP flag bearer said Free Senior High School is up for review. All the other political parties are saying that Free Senior High School needs to be reviewed. President Akufo-Addo has said that critics of the policy have been silenced, and that improving senior high school is actually something that is non-negotiable. You are the Secretariat. What kind of review do you think the Free Senior High School needs?
We will leave it to the big men. When they sit on the table, then they will bring their
Oh no!
concerns.
You
and
should
then
be
we'll
able
see
to tell us. You should be able to tell us, because 7 years, if a policy has not been reviewed, you have not been able to tick all the boxes. It's not something that you have to leave. What kind of proposal will you put forward there?
I'll put it on paper and submit it to you.
No.
No, I'll talk about it.
You have to talk about it.
Why should I talk about it? I'll put it on paper.
Because the conversation about the inequality in the kind of education that we are seeing, it's becoming one too many.
No,
and because of that, a lot of people are saying that they are no longer going to enroll their wards in these public
Are you sure?
cycle
Because this year,
institutions.
for instance,
Mm.
this is the last year. Last year we had enrollments up to 500,000.
Yes, because
these are the total number of students that has enrolled in senior high school. So if you tell me parents don't want to enroll their children in free senior high school, where are they going to enroll them?
The dynamic is this way, because junior high school enrollment is also increasing, and these are the people that we enroll in senior high school. But I bet you that there are parents who are saying that they are not willing to make sure that their children suffer the kind of difficulties in the
Who
current
told you
senior
that
high
kids
school.
are suffering in school?
Because look, there are instances where parents, for example, when the issue of electricity tariffs in some of the senior high schools came up, we know of Accra Academy, the latest culprit or victim, if you want to put it that way. One of the issues raised was that because of the free senior high school policy, government subventions are delaying. Parents are not being allowed to contribute to the welfare of their children. Managers of these schools are also being sanctioned because of what has become known as unapproved fees. All of these challenges are there, yet the Secretariat does not want to make room for parents to contribute their quota. And so really, your free senior high school is not really serving its intended purpose. You want to disagree with these assertions?
Are you sure?
I'm telling you.
No, but the schools, the bills they submit to us, we normally make sure that we pay it on time, because it's not the schools that are supposed to submit bills to the Secretariat. The bills are being submitted to us through ECG. So they will submit it to us, we do the due diligence, and then we make payments to ECG, not the schools. So as the incident happened in Accra Academy, but then we've even made a payment of 500,000 to ECG. So we didn't even know why they went ahead to disconnect the lights from ECG. That is why they came out to apologize to us.
Will you agree that the free senior high school has contributed to different forms of cheating at the senior high school levels when
you
it comes
have evidence to that?
The latest WAEC, concerns about the WASI.
Students are passing exams and you call it a cheat?
Students are passing, yet some others are being caught in the web using AI and all manner of cheating.
But when writing exams, you don't take phones there. So what should they are using AI?
But that's what WAEC said. I'm not the one saying it.
WAEC really told you this?
Yes. The WAEC said it on this platform.
The students are using
That's
AI.
one of the issues of
then
concern.
I'm not privy to this.
Really, there may be the Free Senior High School must broaden its, monitoring and some of the things that we are seeing.
But when they are writing WASI, we go on monitoring as well. So we do a lot of monitoring and supervision.
I find it very difficult.
We don't wait for issues to come up before we go for monitoring. We have monitoring that we do, like at least every 2 months, there's a team visiting the schools on a different.
I'm quite surprised that you are dismissing the position of WAEC as an exam body that is saying that AI is on the rise when it comes to cheating, collusion, and all that. Different form of exam or practice, perhaps because the numbers are huge now and they are finding it difficult to control them.
Who are those finding it difficult to control?
The teachers, because moral decadence on the high in senior high school, the numbers are huge. They can't even control the students. And all of these, you are saying that it has never come up in your monitoring, only the good side.
No, it's not only that. That is why, when I started, I told you that we have challenges, but we should make sure that the positives outweighs the challenges we are facing. And you spoke about the negatives, and I told you that occasionally we visit schools to make sure that some of the challenges they are facing, we intervene quickly. You get it? Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, for anyone listening, just in 30 seconds, convince us why the Free Senior High School should continue in its current form and shape.
All right, okay. I think Free Senior High School has really helped us as a nation. I'll continue saying this. Had it not been Free Senior High School, maybe somebody out there wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to go to school, because it's not everybody that will get chance to foot bills in the senior high schools, because looking at the things we are providing to the students, giving them textbooks, supplementary readers, feeding, and
not even come on time. I thank you
so much. On time, please don't say that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Nana Frasika Mensah, Deputy Coordinator of the Free Senior High School Secretariat. And that's our show for tonight by way of Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Sni Lati Lati. Have a good night.